and visuals of number 16. Well, it's again grammar in action, and we continue with the kinds of sentences. We have taken up the imperative sentences, their structure, and of course narration, that is reporting them in direct and indirect speech. Now today we take up the assertive sentences. Assertive sentences mean the sentences that make statements, that state certain views, facts, opinions. So assertive sentences make statements, and the structure is a very simple one. They start with the subject of the sentence, which could be commonly a noun or a pronoun, and then the verb, either the one part action verb, the one part to be verb, or the helping verb and the entire verb, helping verb and the action verb to follow. They follow the subject. No part of the verb will come before the subject in the structure of the assertive sentences. Now, the speech or the statements made by somebody can be reported by a reporter to another person in two ways, as you know, the direct speech and the indirect speech. The direct speech are the words, exact words of the speaker, or the statement can be reported, in the indirect speech, that is, without quoting the speaker's exact words. So now here again, let us take up the first sentence. Atul said, I need 2 notebooks tomorrow. Now this is the reporting verb, and this is the speech which has to be reported, that is the reported speech. Atul said, I need 2 notebooks tomorrow. So direct speech, if you can recall, is normally used when we actually want to reproduce a piece of conversation. It is used in plays where we have dialogues between 2 people or more than 2. So Atul said, I need 2 notebooks tomorrow. Now if we want to report what Atul said in indirect speech, then of course we follow certain rules. The pronouns have to change sensibly. This is the reporting verb, which is in the past tense, the simple past tense. So the tense of the reported speech will change. Atul said, I need. So need is simple present tense. It will become simple past tense. Why? In order to maintain the consistency of tense, because this is the reporting or the introducing verb. So we begin the sentence, which is being used to report what Atul said, with the simple past tense verb. Atul said that he needed 2 notebooks tomorrow. So tomorrow commonly will become, for an examination, certainly. I'll come to that point a little later. Why did I say for the examination, certainly? Yes, for the examination, certainly, tomorrow will become, the next day or the day after. So the comma and the inverted commas are removed, replaced by that, and of course it is the inverted comma at the end, that's also removed. So Atul said that he needed 2 notebooks the next day. So when the tense of the reporting verb is any form of the past tense, most commonly is going to be the simple past tense. Then the tense of the reported speech will change from simple present to simple past. And I will change to he, because he would refer to Atul and not the reporter. Okay? Because if the reporter needed the two notebooks, then of course it would remain I. But then the reporter doesn't need the notebooks, Atul does. So Atul said that he needed 2 notebooks the next day. Let's look at the second sentence. He said to Ravi, I'm shooting a film these days. Okay, again, here is the reporting verb in the simple past tense. He said to Ravi. So when we say said to Ravi, normally when we are reporting, we change this to told. Remember, the tense of the reporting verb can never change its form. So here, he said to Ravi. So said is simple past, so he told Ravi. And after tell or told or telling, we don't have to. So it is straight away tell or telling or told is a transitive verb. It's a transitive verb with an object. Okay, he told whom? He told Ravi. So he told Ravi that he. Now this is the tense form of the reported speech. I am shooting. So it's present continuous. So present continuous now, because the tense of the reported speech is simple past tense or any form of the past tense, the present continuous will change to the past continuous, or you can very easily say am will change to was. Right? So he told Ravi that he was shooting a film, and these days will also, in order to maintain the consistency of tense and time with the simple past tense, these will become those. Alright? And that's a strict rule. Again, I repeat, as far as an examination, a formal written examination or test goes. Let's look at the third sentence. Ravi said, my friend is a cinematographer. Ravi said, my friend is a cinematographer. So, a cinematographer, like photographer, so you have cinematographer. So Ravi said, my friend is a cinematographer. So Ravi said, and to whom he actually said is not mentioned, so which means Ravi must have said it to the reporter, the one who is reporting his words. So Ravi said that my friend, so it's Ravi's friend, so my will change into his. Ravi said that his friend, and this is the present tense to be, so it will become past tense to be. So Ravi said that his friend was a cinematographer. Okay? Again, it's a strict rule, that is therefore becomes was. That is, to be verb present tense becomes to be verb past tense. The laborers said, we are really needy. So again, so whom did the laborers say this is not mentioned. So it means the reporter, okay, is the one perhaps who heard the laborer's words, or the laborers actually told him or her. So the laborers said, I repeat, the tense of the reporting verb will never change. So the laborers said that, and this we obviously refers to the laborers, okay, not the reporter. So therefore we becomes they. The comma and the inverted commas are removed because we are not quoting the exact words of the laborers. So they are removed and replaced by that. So the laborers said that they are. So is, present tense to be verb, became was, again are, present tense to be verb, and plural number, therefore they will become. So are will become were. The laborers said that they were really needy. Again, these changes are a must, especially when you are writing an examination or when you are taking a formal written test. Let's look at the fifth sentence. Ratan said, I have 2 scooters. So again, the reporting verb is said in the simple past tense, and this I refers to the speaker, that is Ratan in this case. So Ratan said. Again, the person to whom he said these words is not mentioned, which means we will take it for granted that it is the reporter who was told by Ratan. So Ratan said that I refers to Ratan, so it becomes he, and have. Alright, I have, which is again a link verb or a possession verb, okay, that will come under the to be verb category. So I have, so he, in order to maintain consistency of tense with the tense of the reporting verb, it will become he had 2 scooters. Now this consistency of tense is maintained. One, it changes because this was said. This was said obviously before the time it was reported. So therefore, this consistency of tense is maintained. And as I said, in an examination, definitely. I'll come back to that point because that particular point is here. I'll come to it. Gaurav said, my father has a beautiful camera. So again, Gaurav said, comma, inverted comma removed, and that is introduced. So Gaurav said that my father, so this my refers to Gaurav, the speaker. So Gaurav said that his father, and this is the present tense to be verb or verb of possession, or you can call it a link verb. So my father has a beautiful camera. It's not an action verb, so therefore we can term it as a to be verb of possession. So my father had, so his father had a beautiful camera. Okay, so has or have will become had. So the possession verb in the present tense will become the possession verb in the past tense. Now, I have been talking about, yes, these are changes, that is, these will become those, tomorrow will become the next day, yesterday will become the previous day, alright, now will become then. So these are changes when the tense of the reporting verb is any form of past tense. But in real life, it does not work like that. Now what are we actually doing? When we change the tense of the reported speech, as and when, and commonly when the tense of the reporting verb is any form of past tense. I've heard lots of teachers saying, okay, so the simple present tense will change to the next higher tense, that is simple past tense. But what do you mean by higher tense? Just because we do present tense first in grammar, then past tense, and then future tense or future time reference, therefore we call past as the higher or the next tense. No, there's nothing next about it. So there is nothing next about the past tense with reference to the present. We are actually back flipping in terms of time. Right? The present tense becomes past. So we are back flipping. So this change is actually known as back flipping. And this back flipping, according to these rules, alright, is a must, as I said, in a written examination. Because a written examination like this will not give you the situation. That is, when exactly the reporting was done. Now let's look at this. Atul said, so just imagine that Atul came and told me, I need 2 notebooks tomorrow. And he told me this morning, okay? And I go to Atul's guardian. As a reporter, I go to Atul's parents or to Atul's guardian. And I report what Atul said the same evening or the same afternoon. I don't wait for the next day. I report what Atul said on this same day, the same day on which Atul said these words to me, meaning the reporter. Then, if we change tomorrow to the next day, it might just become, it'll sound a bit silly, isn't it? So imagine, here is Atul, okay, alright, Amber, I need 2 notebooks tomorrow, okay, could you go and please tell my parents, alright, maybe get some money from them, because I can't go home right now, I'll be reaching very late, and by the time I reach home, alright, all the shops, would have closed. Now this is the situation, and I go to Atul's parents, I go to Atul's father, and I said, Uncle, Atul said that he needed 2 notebooks. When? Right? The reporting is being done on the same day. So then, in that case, tomorrow will not and should not change. But this situation of Atul telling me that he needs 2 notebooks tomorrow, that situation will not be explained. It won't be explained that I, the reporter, am going to the parents of Atul on the same evening. Right? If that happens, then we cannot in real life indulge in what is known as back flipping. Is it clear? If the reporting is done on the same day on which the words or the statement was made by somebody, in this case Atul, then how can we justify back flipping? It will look very funny. I go to Atul's father and I say, Uncle Atul, well, then Atul said that he needed 2 notebooks, okay? But then even this back flipping may not sound very sensible. Uncle, Atul needs 2 notebooks tomorrow, isn't it? So you see, the whole situation changes. So there is a big difference between an examination, writing an examination, and then understanding the situation in real life and accordingly deciding whether we have to actually backflip. That means whether we have to make simple present tense change into the simple past tense, or whether we have to make the changes from am, is, are to was and were, right? So that has to be decided, and that will depend on the situation. There's a big gulf, unfortunately, between an examination and real life. The real life comes into play when we are actually writing a story, a novel, because there the situation is explained clearly. But when we are dealing, with isolated sentences in a very boring examination, then my advice is please follow the rules and do the back flipping accordingly, according to the rules. Am I clear? I'll make this clear with one more example. Let's see. Here, the laborer said, "We are really needy." Okay? I mean, they have lost their jobs. They are no longer, working. They want to go back home. All right, so they told somebody, or they told me, "We are really needy." And then, I go and tell somebody else. The laborers, came to me and they said, that they were really needy. If I report the same thing and the condition of the laborers has not improved, all right, with this COVID-19 going on and on and on and on, and we see, the plight of the migrant laborers, all right, we should not call them migrant because after all they are Indians and they are within India. Okay, so then can we do this backflipping? Yeah, once this coronavirus thing goes and the laborers now come back to work and they do whatever they do, and then when we look back and then when I report, then backflipping is justified in real life. Now just imagine the two scenarios. One, the scenario today of coronavirus. The laborers said, "We are really needy." Okay? And with the corona thing not going out of sight, all right, not really, the coronavirus not really sparing us so soon. So, even after 5 days, I report to somebody what the laborers told me. Can I use the past tense? Can I backflip? Because today they are needy, after 5 days also they will be equally or perhaps even more needy, because they would have spent whatever little meager savings that they may have done. Right? So the laborers said that they are really needy. So in this present scenario, with COVID-19 not leaving the world so easily, so the condition of laborers will not change, magically in the next 10 days. And even if I report what the laborers said, after 2 or 3 days, or even after 10 days, it will not become a thing of the past. So therefore, backflipping would seem very insensible. Right? But if the same sentence comes like this in an examination, a formal written test, a class test, or your weekly test, or your terminal examination, and then you have been given a sentence in direct speech, and now you have to change that into indirect speech, then please follow the rule. The rule of backflipping, are becoming were if the tense of the reporting verb is past tense or simple past tense commonly. Then do the backflipping, because the scenario is not explained. It is not contextualized. It's not couched in life situation. Clear? So the laborers said, "We are really needy." The laborers said that they were really needy. But then in this current scenario, if I go and report what the laborers said, I cannot say they were needy, because their need, because their precarious plight, alright, still continues. It would continue even after 10 days or 15 days. Right? So, is that clear? So, back flipping, definitely for a formal examination. Okay? We go back in time. That's why it's called back flipping. And not, it changes to, simple present to simple past, present continuous to past continuous, present perfect to the next one, that is present past perfect, present perfect continuous to the next one or the higher one. What is this next one or the higher one? Actually, you're going back in time to maintain consistency of tense. That's all. So this phenomenon, of changing the tense of the reported speech when the reporting verb is in any form of the past tense is actually called back flipping. But in real life, as I explained to you, if the reporting is being done when on the same day, or is done in a scenario which has not changed at all from the time the words were stated by the speaker, then back flipping in real life would appear very, very stupid. Won't it? Right? So that's all. I will carry on with this, okay? And I will also give a very simple tip to the practicing teachers, especially when they are doing this in the lower middle classes, which means grades 4 and 5, when they are doing direct to indirect speech. Then it can best be explained in terms of, yes, only the simple present tense and the simple past tense would require back flipping using the technical term simple present to simple past to past perfect. Otherwise, you just change actually am, is, are, okay, to maybe was and were. And then all the tense forms in the continuous forms, these would be the helping verbs then, like here. It's a helping verb. Okay? So that is all. Take care for the next one, and that would again be assertive sentences and narration part 2. Thank you. So please subscribe to my YouTube channel, The Voice and Visuals of Umber 16. Well, the YouTube channel is called The Voice and Visuals of Umber. Okay, we'll have grammar in action, we'll have language in action within The Voice and Visuals of Umber from time to time. Subscribe to it and encourage my endeavours to enhance the grammatical prowess of the youngsters and also their language skills, their skills of communication. Thank you. God bless.